Do you think the vodka is different here?
First night, went out with them. They're like, "Oh, you have to try Russian vodka." Like, that's
Beluga.
had me on my ass. I was like, "What is this?" I was so gone. I'm like, "I'll never drink with," and they can drink. Russians can drink. Lord,
that's a fact.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Stewie's World. I'm Breanna Stewart, reporting live from Russia. I'm joined today by two friends, both familiar with playing the game of basketball overseas. Please welcome Arike Ogunbowale and Alan Williams. Arike, Alan, thank you for coming on.
thanks for having me.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
I really feel like I should just be like, Privyet.
Right.
To just start with the Russian hello.
For sure. Talk to you loud.
First, Arike, let's start with you. Explain to us where you are in Russia and first impressions of the city.
Yeah, well, I'm in Kursk, and it's super far from really anything. We're the only, sports team in this city. Like, I was in Turkey last year. There was, different sports, a men's team. Like, we're the only one. And to travel, there's one little airport, one gate. And so you either got to take a train or you got to take a bus ride to go everywhere or wait, once a week for a flight. So it's kind of crazy out here, and it's getting really cold. But, I'm used to it because I'm from the Midwest, but it's getting pretty nippy. And it's a really small town. But, yeah, Kursk, Russia.
And Alan?
I'm in Krasnodar, Russia. It's in the southern part of Russia. It's a warmer city. I think right now it's probably 50s. It snows probably 6 or 7 times a year, and it's really nice the rest of the year. Travel sucks.
I didn't know they had that out here.
Definitely no. It's definitely the best place to. I say the best place to be in Russia in terms of the weather. But for us too, travel's been super difficult throughout the year. Everything is a flight through Moscow. So if you fly through Moscow, then you got to stop and fly the other direction or fly out the country, and it's a big hassle for sure. I think being in Moscow would be the best move. But Krasnodar is a really nice city. I love it here.
I didn't even know it could be 50 degrees somewhere in Russia in December.
That's crazy.
It's cold. It's been colder than it was last season. But last season, I swear, we had it was sunny the whole year. It was barely any
That's
cold at
crazy.
all.
Wow.
So it was nice.
And for everyone else, I'm in Ekaterinburg, Russia. So I'm far east, close to Siberia, which is similar to Arike's situation. It's very cold. It's actually colder here. So Arike, when you come here, it's gonna be cold. For us, hooping overseas is normal, especially as women's basketball players. Alan, you've been overseas. You've been in the league. You've been all types of things. But what do you think the American perspective on people going to play overseas is, and the hoopers' perspective on us going overseas?
I think that's a great question. I think it's changed in both aspects. I think I'd say maybe 4 or 5 years ago, before overseas basketball was as known as it is now, and I think social media has played a big role in getting overseas hoopers the recognition and notoriety that they deserve and the respect that they deserve. I think it was looked down upon. It's oh, you can't make it here, so you got to go overseas and play. When in a lot of situations, the money's better, the situation's better, you're playing, you're just overall happier because of kind of the struggles of the NBA life. Is every day is so ambiguous. You don't know kind of what you're going to get. Obviously, the star players are the star players, but for a guy like me who's a role guy, I can really be a star over here and enjoy life in all the aspects of it. And so I think from a hooper's perspective too, guys respect overseas, especially the EuroLeague, Euro Cup situations in certain countries. They understand how difficult it is to be successful over here because the game's so much different. So yeah, I think it's changed for the better for the regular people and for the hoopers out there. Definitely have more respect for people over here that go out and push through that grind. So
yeah, I think when I was looking through some of these questions that I had, and that's one thing is for us, especially Arike and I, when we think of playing WNBA and going overseas, it's respect. It's a level of respect that we get because it's we're going back and forth and doing all these things. So Arike, you said you were in Turkey before. This is just your second year overseas, right? How is the overseas game different?
I think Turkey more so than Russia, because with Russia there's only like a couple top players. So I mean, compared to last year, like I'm chilling more. But in Turkey, there's like at least three WNBA players on each team. So it's really like you playing against players in WNBA every single night. Like it's physical, it's tough, and I mean when you have to play a lot in the WNBA and go right to this season, and people overseas like the coaches and stuff, they want you to perform. Like if you lose, it's your fault. If you win, it's because of you. Like they don't care about that. So you have to go out there. They'll play you 40 minutes. They'll run you into the ground. Like they'll really, wear you out there. But I think the WNBA is more difficult just because, I mean, we're the best players in the world. But over here, when you get over there, people are always trying to prove themselves. And a lot of the players that play overseas aren't in the WNBA as well. Like there are WNBA players, but there's a lot of players that aren't in the WNBA. So they make it a point every night to, try to show you up because they're not in the league. Like it's just a lot that goes on that shouldn't be going on. But it's more physical on the dirty side more than the WNBA. But I think the WNBA is still, top level.
And Alan, how is it different, I guess, comparing to the league to overseas?
It's way different. I mean, it's obviously the shorter game, the 48-minute game in the NBA compared to the 40-minute game in Europe is like way different. 5 fouls compared to 6 fouls. I've fouled out so many games just off of just BS, you know what I'm saying? Like stuff that I know for a fact wasn't a foul. So it's something to get used to. But I think just the overall physicality, like every possession in every game means so much here. You know what I mean? That pressure, you feel that. It's like, yo, you got to go out. It could be the worst team in the league, but they pushing you like you playing the top team. You know what I'm saying? And like every single night, you got to bring it because if you take that loss, it's like you said, it's your fault. It's on you. It's going to fall on the best player's shoulders. Whereas in the NBA, you got 82 games, and I'm sure in the W too. There's just games where it's like, okay, cool. If I chill tonight, it is what it is. We get the win, we get the loss. Obviously, you want to go out there and win every game, but you get the win, you get the loss. It is what it is. Whereas here, it's none of that. You know what I mean? That pressure is real on you, night in and night out. And I say that's the biggest difference is that mental aspect and being locked in for every single game.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely true. I mean, Arike, when you were talking a little, I was getting China vibes, because it's like they expect you to go and they expected you to like score everything, get all the rebounds, and you better win the game too.
Right.
And then my first year when I came to Russia, I felt the same. Like my teammates were going so hard at me, like. And I have no problem like going hard in practice, but it's like
at practice too.
Is this your league tryout? Like what's happening right now?
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like there's no scouts watching you, I promise.
Obviously coming over here during the COVID times, for those that don't know, Russia is closed. The borders are closed. Mm-hmm. Usually people can come in on a tourist visa. It's kind of a pain in the ass to get here. And to kind of go home for break and come back and all these things. I'm sure you guys are thinking of the same thing. I'm like looking at these flights and they're 30 hours long.
Right.
What, I guess with this year being so up in the air, obviously the pandemic, all the other social injustices that's going on in our country, why did you still want to come overseas? Like, was there any doubt? I'll start with you, Arike. Was there any doubt for you to come overseas, or you were just like all in?
I think my only doubt was if there was even going to be an overseas season. Like, I think that was my biggest thing because other than that, like, obviously I'm still young, so, I need to make money and there's a lot of money overseas for me. So, that was going to have to happen. Like, obviously my safety is important and, I had to make sure that was number one priority for them. But I don't think like if there was going to be a season, I was going to be, overseas. I signed my contract already. So, I was happy there was a season because obviously I want to play, not knowing if there's a WNBA season. Like I was anxious like the whole summer. So I was even anxious for this, like, am I going to have to sit out 7 months, till the next WNBA season? So, I was happy that they figured out a way, but it's definitely a pain, getting over here. You got to get a COVID test 72 hours before, like you have to fly through different countries. Like it's so much to go on just to get out here, and then they have to cut your break short because they put in those travel days, which sucks. So it's a lot, but I was happy they had a season though for sure.
And Alan, I guess it was a little different for you because you didn't play this summer, so
yeah, no, so I played on the same team last year and we finished COVID cut our season short in March. And so I had the longest summer break in my career. You know what I'm saying? In my 6-year career, I was home from the end of March until the middle of August. And so it was amazing. And I think the biggest thing for me was like having all that time at home with your family and being around and seeing that kind of stuff and getting to live, you know what I'm saying, live off of the hard work that you put in and night out. Because as athletes, you guys can say this too, is like you go from one season right to the next. The vacation's a month, you know what I'm saying? Maybe you go somewhere, maybe you do something with the people that you care about, but you don't really get that real time. And so I actually had that real time for the first time, and I was like, I don't want to leave. You know what I mean? It was the hardest to go back over there, and obviously the financial implications are huge. Like, no way I'm missing out on the money. But it was definitely a lot harder, you know what I mean? And the COVID stuff and the social justice stuff, leaving your family at that time when a lot of us in these situations are big parts of our family and big, either whether it be financial or support-wise, you kind of worry about your people back at home. But at the end of the day, you got a job to do, and I think that's what kind of got me on that plane and through that 2.5-hour travel day to get here.
I was talking to someone yesterday, and they were kind of like, you know, why did you come overseas? And for me, it's like, you know, coming back from an injury, I can't imagine just not playing basketball just by choice. You know, I want to continue to play as much as possible. And it's like, you know, in the situation where in our country so many people are unemployed, if we have a job, we need to take that job and go and do what we need to do. You talked a little bit about the COVID tests, Alan. I'm like, how often you guys get tested a week? Because I'm curious, like, if it's different between us.
No, so we come back from it's like 3 times a week. So we'll do it the 2 days before the game, and if we travel, the day before we travel, and then when we come back, the day we land. So it's like always, it's pretty much 3 times a week. And then twice a month, we'll do blood tests to check for antibodies. And then once a month, we do cardiographic screenings to make sure that our hearts are healthy for the people that had it. Like, we had a time where we had 9 players with it at one time, and they shut the whole thing down kind of thing. And so most of us have the antibodies, so we've been straight as of late. And so they make sure they're on it.
That's super nice that they do those tests like once a month.
That's a lot.
Sure.
That's a lot.
Like the heart ones.
Yeah.
No, that was big.
Arike, what about your team?
I mean, usually 3 days before a game, but it's up to the team. Like, if they don't want you, like, if they don't care, then we just don't get tested. Like, it's pretty much up in the air for us, to be honest. Like, there was, like, weeks and weeks I went without getting tested, and there was one week I got tested, like, 3 times. So, I don't know. They just wake up one day. It's like, it's time to COVID test, I guess. It's because it's super, like, I don't even know.
I think for us, too, it's tough because we're going country to country where you guys have the bubble. Mm-hmm. For the most part, when you're doing the EuroLeague women's stuff, when we're doing our Euro Cup stuff, we're going from country to country. So, like, the test in Poland was crazy. Like, they held my nose back and had it in there for, like, 20 seconds, like, just digging in there. And then, like, we get back to Russia, and it's, like, it's pretty light compared. You know what I'm saying? So, like, everywhere you go, too, the testing is different. And that's the crazy part about it, too, is when you get them crazy tests.
Yeah. I mean, I told you yesterday, Alan, but, like, I tested positive. Here in Russia. It was the beginning of November, and it was right before the break. So, you know, I'm hyped to go on my break. Right. And then they told me, they're like, you test positive. And I was like, what? Like, I didn't have any symptoms. I didn't have any fever, nothing crazy. But, yeah, I went into 2-week quarantine. You know, it's way strict in Russia. But I guess as it should be to hopefully continue to contain the virus. But yeah, I was like, I come to Russia. I just got here like a week ago and I already got COVID.
Right.
That's the worst.
But still, I guess I was fortunate. You know, I know a lot of people that have like crazy symptoms, but still, it's something that we can't joke around with. And
no, not at all.
Even when we go back home, like, I know me, like, when I'm gonna see my family, I'm like a little hesitant because, I mean, obviously I've had it already, but like, even still, you don't want to get them sick. You don't know what's gonna happen. Mm-hmm. So I guess, Alan, I want to talk about your injury. Alan was injured, like 2 weeks ago? A little less than 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, just a little over 2 weeks ago.
and I don't know the exact specifics of your injury, but I know you have a knee injury.
Ruptured patella tendon.
So you're still in Russia.
I'm here.
How's the rehab going? Are you gonna go home for Christmas?
First of all, like making that decision to get the surgery done in Moscow was like a big one. You know what I mean? It was called between myself and my agent, the different teams, because you want to get the best job done. Luckily for me, the person that I ended up getting the surgery from in Moscow had done a million of them, had worked with the Russian national team, worked with the Spurs in San Antonio for a little bit. And so it was somebody that I could really trust. And so that getting that done as quickly as possible was great. And then my team has just been amazing. Like, I think my agent was telling me that he's never seen the team really take control of a situation the way that they've been taking control of it and making sure everything goes right and I'm comfortable and everything. And so the rehab's going well. The swelling's going down. I feel better every day. And yeah, I'll get to go home. So in a couple weeks here, I'll fly back and spend Christmas with my family for the first time in I don't know how long. Get to stay for about a month. I know y'all jealous.
No, we go home. We go home.
Oh, y'all get to go home?
Oh, yeah, we go home, too.
Oh,
yeah.
my God.
That's the great thing about
That's
Russia.
love. I was about to say, if y'all need me to bring something back, I'll bring something back for you guys. But no, it's they're doing a great job, and I'm just excited to knock out this rehab. But definitely was a little skeptical at first. But, yeah, man, I trusted with my club, and everything's going well.
I mean, it also helps that you were, like, getting doubles like crazy, and of course the club is going to take care of you.
Playing all right. I'm playing all right, for sure. I appreciate it.
What's the biggest thing, Arike, that you miss from home?
Probably just the snacks, like being able to go, like food and snacks, like being able to go to your favorite restaurant. Seafood, there's no seafood over here, and that's my favorite, like crab legs, all that stuff. But just being able to go to the grocery store and know what everything is saying, like not having to pull out your phone and translate everything. Like it makes the grocery store trip add like 30 minutes. Like just being able to do stuff that you easily can do in the States for sure. And home cooked meals.
Yeah, I think it's all that for sure. Like the snacks are huge. Like Russian snacks, they aren't the best. Like I'll just put it out there and say it. Like sometimes you just want something that you just can never get and never find. So that's a big thing. I think, too, just, like, having somebody to talk to. And, like, obviously I love my teammates and spend a lot of time with them and everything, but it's, like, nothing like, you know what I'm saying, your brother, your friend, or your, you know what I'm saying, whoever it is, like, you can just have a conversation with and talk to. Like, I'm sitting in the apartment by myself for these last couple of days going crazy because there's just nobody to talk to, you know what I'm saying? And FaceTime just doesn't do it justice. And so I think that piece of it, just having people to be around is going to be super dope when I'm back home, so.
Yeah, I just never understand why they don't have the nacho cheese Pringles. They only have paprika.
Yeah, paprika.
And I'm like, I don't even know.
So many different flavors of Pringles.
They
like,
have
I saw
bacon,
ham and cheese,
ketchup.
crab. I'm like,
They go crazy.
I'm like, who is eating these? The ham and cheese really blew me because that's disgusting.
No, but then I got my Russian teammates who'll eat it though. Like they'll be eating it. Like it's not like some people don't eat it. Like I've seen people actually consume this stuff, and it's just like y'all nasty.
I know. One time I had one. I thought it was like sour cream and onion, but you know, like those green onions, the long ones. You know what I'm talking about? It was like chips with that in it, and I was like, When I'm overseas, obviously Sue Bird, she was overseas for a long time and in Russia for a long, long time, and she would talk about being here, and there was no social media. There was no like cell phones. There was no iPhone. There was like a landline. There was like Wi-Fi.
That's crazy.
Can you imagine being over here without social media?
No, without Netflix.
Not at all.
Without Netflix, I'll go crazy. I can't even imagine without your phone or nothing like that. No way.
So what did she say she did?
What did she do? She talked like on the landline. And like when her Wi-Fi cut out for whatever she was doing. She was like, that was it. It was over.
Good night.
Right. Wow.
So, Alan, you're playing Euro Cup. Like, for Euro Cup, you travel all over the world. You go across Europe and things like that. And I see you, and I'm like, I'm jealous that he's, like, able to shop and do normal things in these countries where, for us, it's like we can't even get into Europe. So right. How was the Euro Cup experience this year? Obviously, there's no fans, which doesn't help for those big games, but was it still nice to be able to travel and this and that?
Yeah, it was amazing. Like, the best trip of the year was Monaco. You know what I'm saying? Like, we went to Monaco, and it was open, like, and it was perfect, sunny, walked around, shopped, ate great, you know what I'm saying? Got to enjoy that for like 3 days, and we won the game. So after the game, we all went to dinner, and everything was good. And so it's like, it felt normal, you know what I'm saying? When you're in Russia for as long as you are, you got to get out, because Russia's a different place compared to anywhere else in all of Europe. You know what I'm saying? Istanbul is super cool because it's super cultured, and it's American-like in its kind of way. And in different parts of Europe are the same. You feel at home. But Russia's one place where it's like, okay, I definitely know I'm in Russia. And so any chance you get a chance to get out and get somewhere else, we always took advantage of it. Like, we were always talking about the trips that we get to go to, and we're just like, yeah, we can't wait till this happens. And then the next grouping, we could be playing a couple Spanish teams and maybe an Italian team. So it's like, okay, cool. That's gonna be fun. Doing that too. So definitely nice that we're not in a bubble, and they found a way to kind of get it done. So props to them.
So for those that don't know, we were just in the EuroLeague bubble, 2 weeks ago, beginning of December. Yours was in Istanbul, right?
Mm-hmm.
So tell me the story that happened with the team that did not come, because you only had 3 teams in your group, and how was the bubble compared to the WNBA bubble?
It wasn't really a bubble because there was regular people staying in the hotel, but other than that, like, every team had their own floor. One of our trainers tested positive, actually, so we had to, like, quarantine. Yeah, and we had to get tested, like, at 7 a.m., like, 3 days in a row, and we couldn't eat with the rest of the group. Like, it was annoying. 8 of them tested positive right before the bubble, so they obviously couldn't come because all the players had corona, which was crazy, so we only had to play 2 teams. And it was kind of like the league because, you go down, you eat, you do all that. But the gym was off campus, so we went to an off-campus gym to go play. But other than that, it was cool.
Yeah, our bubble was in Spain, which was a little bit nicer because
Nice.
at least we could look out the window. And they actually, so it like was a fake bubble. We got tested. The players aren't allowed to go anywhere or do anything. But then they were like, oh, you can go for a walk for 30 minutes. Yeah, so our team went for 30-minute walks. But I don't know. It's a different world where, WNBA, we were tested every single day. And during EuroLeague bubble, we were tested once. We were tested once we got there, and that was it. And then we had to test, obviously, to go back. But I'm interested to see, like, for our next bubble that's going to be in January, if there's going to be any changes from EuroLeague.
Like, more freedom?
More freedom, more testing. Something needs to be more, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we'll see when we cross that path, I guess. Arike, how do you continue to kind of use your platform even though we're so far away from home and all the other things that are going on?
Yeah, I mean, well, social media, like, that's really how you can do it. You can tweet at any point. You can repost on Instagram at any point. You can still do, interviews, just time it up with the schedule. But definitely just social media. And obviously we all have followers. We have a good amount of followers. So people are going to see that. And, whenever you can post, like, whenever I see something, I'll repost it or say something about it. And, like, that's really as much as you can do when we're all the way, across the world. But definitely just using that because we have that platform for a reason. So social media is the biggest thing right now.
And I think, too, it's our responsibility, especially as being overseas basketball players now, that we're not in it when it's going on in the States. We just got to be conscious and careful about where we get our information from and make sure that it's the right thing that we're sending out. That's the toughest thing about being overseas. It's like, okay, cool, you'll hear something from an outlet and be like, oh, no, that's wrong, or, oh, yeah, I think that's right. And then your reaction is based off of what you hear at first rather than, like, digging deeper. And so that can kind of get you in trouble a little bit. And I think as professional athletes and as individuals with platforms and beliefs and things that we want to do to make the world better, I think it's our responsibility to make sure that we're getting our information, I guess, from the right source or trying to be have as truthful information as possible, and then getting that out there and letting our voices be heard. So definitely can't be quiet while you're over here. You got to make sure that you're still, fighting a good fight. So
it's kind of interesting that, we're in such a virtual time right now with obviously COVID that, it gives us these opportunities to kind of continue to use our platform, whether it's a virtual event or things like that. And, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I find myself, I'm always up late and up early to talk to people at home, but now even more so to continue to kind of be a part of these other events that we're missing. And one big one is shout out to Reverend Warnock, the Georgia Senate, the state runoff is happening, potentially opportunity to flip the Senate. So hopefully all of the Georgia citizens have registered to vote and will continue to vote. Because that is something big that is happening right now. The next thing I want to talk about that I'm super interested about is the bubble. You hear the bubble last summer. The NBA guys were like, it was so hard. I wasn't with my family and this and that and the other. And it's like, for us, for 2 weeks. And it's like, for us, that's normal. I guess, Arike, like, what was your first thoughts about that?
Yeah, basically, I mean, they're spoiled, but I said rightfully so. They obviously bring in a lot of revenue. They're used to, everything that they're used to. They have millions, but just hearing them complain, like, if you weren't 5 years in the league, which is a lot of years, you couldn't even bring anybody. And even if you were, you had to pay like $4,000 or something, like crazy, like for no reason. But I mean, we're used to it. Like overseas people, like we can't bring our whole families overseas. So obviously we're used to the seclusion and just being away from, family. But I mean, it was kind of funny. They got, a little taste of not being, getting everything that they wanted for 2 weeks. Let's remember, for 2 weeks. I mean, it was funny, but obviously it worked out for them. But yeah, their bubble was pretty nice compared to, all the other bubbles in the world.
Probably compared to a lot of people's overseas situations too, for real. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
You could be in a bad city and it feel like you're in a bubble. You know what I mean? So
right.
Hearing it at first, I was like, wow, that's crazy to think about. And immediately I was like, nah, that's BS. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really trying to hear that. I'm over here 10 months grinding and getting it like this is light for y'all. But then you take back and realize that when you're in the NBA, you're accustomed to a certain lifestyle. And like anybody that gets accustomed to a lifestyle, to have it drastically change like that, it's going to be hard for them. So I know from mental experience, like being alone or being away from your peoples for any point of time, really, and having to go out and be professional and do your job it's tough to do.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like overseas hoopers we're used to being in a bubble. Even if it's not considered a bubble, it's a bubble to us because, things aren't as accessible. How do you think the 2021 NBA season is going to go?
I think if the NFL can somehow manage to get it done the way that they've been able to get it done, we're having, multiple people get it every week, but you put them out and then I don't see it being a real big issue because the money's too big. You know what I'm saying? Whenever money's involved at that magnitude, they're going to find a way to get it done. And I think playing with no fans to begin with is a good move. And then just drastically just gauging, how things go with the vaccinations that are coming up and all that different kind of stuff. I think you just play it by ear and hopefully fans can get back in there, man, because like that's one thing that professional sports needs is fans. You know what I mean? And that's the reason why we play, and that's the reason why we're compensated the way that we're compensated, because it's entertainment for people. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that finding a way to get fans in there safely, protecting the players and protecting the fans in the NBA and in the WNBA is going to be a big goal for them and a big job for them. But I think it's something that they can handle for sure.
Speaking of NFL, Arike, what has your brother? He plays for the Bucks, right?
Jaguars.
Oh,
he was in the Bucks, but he got traded to Jaguars.
Sorry, he's on the Jaguars.
No, he was in the Bucks though.
What has he told you about the experience of the NFL and them trying to make the season go on like it's normal?
The NFL's they seem pretty hard headed. Like they were gonna have a season regardless. Like even before it was announced, and like when the pandemic, obviously it's still really bad, but like when people didn't know a lot, like they didn't say anything, like season was going to be as planned. Like they didn't have any, things put into play. Like season was going to happen for them regardless. So he was just like, I mean, it is what it is. He has to go and stuff. But it's kind of crazy though that they, a quarterback can test positive. That's your, like now you have to play with somebody else. It's not like you can, do something about it. Like they're like the show keeps going for the NFL, which is absolutely insane. But I mean, they've come this far, so.
and I think it's even more insane. It's just like, obviously NFL, NBA have like all these crazy resources, but you see like college basketball, you see college football, like these games are getting canceled like left and right. That's because crazy. It's like the the virus is like so unknown. We have no
it's
idea.
Here. It's here. Yeah.
If you had to make a prediction right now, who is going to win the 2021 NBA championship?
I'm gonna have to go with the Lakers. Like it's hard to go against them. They just added crazy pieces like role players like Trez and what's his name, Dennis. I think they're gonna be solid again. Obviously.
Yeah, I got the Lakers winning it.
I'm
They
going with the
beating
Nets. I'm going with
I was
the
about to say
Nets.
that's my runner-up, Brooklyn.
Brooklyn be there for sure. Too.
Let me see my guy KD. He needs to get buckets.
It's tough though.
I'm
It's their
excited to
first
see
year
him play
together though.
again.
It's their first real year together, so it's going to be a little shaky, for sure.
For sure.
I
I
mean,
mean,
there's
for
still
sure
some
it's going to
killers,
be
though.
shaky,
But
but
they're crazy. KD, Kyrie, Karis, they're gonna be nice.
Yeah, they're gonna be fun to watch. A lot of teams gonna be fun to watch. I'm excited to be up at 3 a.m. trying to watch, but I'll be there. I'll wake up.
seeing the NBA happen now normally, do you think we're going to be able to have a normal season with the WNBA? Or are we going to be in a bubble again?
I mean, I pray we have a normal season, but I don't know. Like, for some reason, I can just see them doing a bubble game just because it's like the safest way and it cuts out having to, pay for all the flights and do this and that. But I mean, if the NBA can do it, like go to each other's places and, not have fans, I think we can too. So hopefully they follow their lead, but you never know.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing for us is we don't charter. And that's the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's the problem. But we're doing it over here.
True.
So I hope by the time the WNBA is about to start that we'll be in our cities.
I can't do a bubble again.
I don't know if I'm
can't.
doing a bubble again either because I'm going to be in my
Yeah,
house.
like- Right. I don't know if that can happen again, truly.
Dallas, they just hired VJ, Vicky Johnson. Your initial thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm excited about that. I've heard a lot of good things. Like, obviously, I did my research, asked players that have played for her and that know her. And I've heard nothing but, good things. So, and I've talked to her and she seems really excited and has some good plans for her. So hopefully it'll work out. But I'm definitely excited. And, it's good to have a woman of color as a coach, a player that's played in the league. So she knows everything that we've been through. Like, she knows the ins and outs of the WNBA. Like, because it's a different type of game. Like, you can be a coach, but to actually, have done it and played it and lived it, like, that's a different story. So, I'm excited to play for her.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see how you guys do. Obviously, with such a young core, it's, you had exciting moments in the bubble. And now to kind of translate that with a new head coach is going to be really cool. Alan, how much Russian do you know? Give me some Russian.
I'm like really straight. Like I'm actually alright at it. Like for real. I can do like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 1 through 10.
I'm like, yeah, he's
I
counting
can do
one.
Как дела? Хорошо. Спасибо. А тебе? Хорошо. Нормально. Спасибо. You know what I'm saying? Like I can like get. I'm straight. Like I can go to the. I can go to the grocery
like,
store.
hey, how are you? Like,
I can order food at a restaurant for the most part. Yeah, man. I got like the start of this year. I started taking. I hired like a Russian tutor, and so
that's why.
we were working on that for like a good 3-4 weeks before the season started. So.
Arike, how's your Russian coming along?
I'm still on Spasiba, but I'll be getting a couple little things here and there. Maybe I'll learn. I'll pick it up maybe, but it's only been a couple months, so we'll see.
Yeah, you're gonna pick it up slowly.
Slowly but surely.
Slowly
Stewie, what
but
about you?
Yeah, so very slowly.
Mine is okay. I know like the same like you. Хорошо, молодец. I know. What's the one?
Давай.
Давай.
Davai. That's it right there.
Show is like finished. Sto is like what? Let's see what else I know. I know the bad words.
Yeah, that
Right.
was for sure.
Suka black.
Do you think the vodka is different here?
I had the vodka in Russia. yet.
First night, went out with them. They're like, "Oh, you have to try Russian vodka."
Beluga.
Like, had me on my ass. I was like, "What is this?" I was so gone. I'm like, "I'll never drink with." And they can drink. Russians can drink.
That's a fact.
Lord.
That is a
I don't
fact.
think I've
It's
ever
like, oh
tried
my
the
God.
Russian vodka yet. I haven't tried
Oh,
Russian
yeah,
vodka. None of my Russian teammates drink vodka. It's either
Proceed
whiskey
with
or-
caution.
I'm a big tequila guy, so they don't have a lot of good tequila in Russia. I actually found some 1942 here in Krasnodar though, and so
Oh wow.
I've been big chilling since I found that. So
All right.
all
Well,
good.
You gotta still research the vodka in Russia.
I'm gonna have to try that.
After my injury, I went crazy with it a little bit. That's a wrap for Stewie's World. Thank you again to my guests Arike Ogunbowale and Alan Williams. For the fans out there, subscribe to the Uninterrupted YouTube channel for more episodes. For the audio podcast listeners, subscribe to Stewie's World feed wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Breanna Stewart, and stay tuned for more episodes of Stewie's World. See you next time. Paka!